Howdy, hey folks, welcome to another edition of the Wednesday Word. Today we're going to talk about a few of the things that differ between writing as a hobby and writing professionally. I think these are really useful lessons for anyone who's starting out in writing, or if writing is a part of your job, or you're just starting to figure out how to work with a team, this is going to be the video for you. I think the biggest takeaway, no matter what, from this video is the understand that most of writing isn't really the act of typing and writing itself. It's managing the processes around writing. And that's what we're going to dive into today, are a few of the helpful hints and tricks to figuring out what those processes look like and how you, as a participant within an agency or on a team, can do a good job of building up your writing credentials. First big piece that came to mind is getting comfy with writing about boring topics. So when you're writing as a hobbyist or you're writing for yourself, you get to pick whatever you want to talk about. That's the point, right? It's the name of the game. But when it's you writing for a team or a company, suddenly you lose that sense of autonomy over the subject matter itself. And it's not that you don't care. You can work for a company and really enjoy what they're talking about or the industry they work in. But not every piece of content you're going to produce is going to be super interesting. So learning about how to work through that feeling of disinterest while still managing deadlines well and being able to produce good content is a really key piece for any writer writing professionally. Another big piece I see a lot of first-time or early writers slip up in is being able to hone your negotiation skills. By that I mean you're not negotiating across the deal table, you're negotiating in your document editor. Now, when you're writing for yourself, you get to produce it however you want, and maybe you bring in someone to read it for you or read it with you and learn from it. But when it's you writing professionally within a team or an organizational setting, you are not going to be the only author on that piece. You're going to have a lot of folks touch that. You might have coworkers, bosses, their bosses, your client, your client's bosses. There are going to be a lot of voices popping into these pieces. And when it comes to negotiating a lot of those voices, that's going to fall to you as the person who's going to have to write this thing. And the key piece I see here, and where folks trip up a lot, is not really understanding what their non-negotiables truly are, or creating too many for themselves. So then it feels like everything that your boss or your client says becomes this personal attack almost, like you feel it really viscerally. And when you're writing professionally, you have to divorce that element of the emotion away from the piece itself. And you need to learn how to negotiate around that feedback you're getting to make folks happy. I think a couple of the non-negotiables for me is going to be maintaining that core messaging. So whatever core message you started with, unless there is a massive change in the scope of the project, you know what needs to be communicated at the end of the day. That needs to stay in the piece no matter what. The path you take to get there could be different, but you have to get to that end goal no matter what. I think the other piece, the non-negotiable, is once you have that end goal in mind, it's the, oh, that's neat pieces. So that's going to be your really cool specific examples that meet the piece. That's going to be the really key points or the really big hooks to draw people in and get that attention. That's where your expertise as the writer comes in. You understand, or are training to understand, the narrative flow of a piece. You're trying to understand how these pieces fit together. And that's going to be the first thing that goes when people start editing by committee, is this idea of carrying through a clear narrative. So you need to be the champion of that narrative and make sure that it lives at the center of the piece no matter what else is going on. From there, you can figure out who's going to care about which pieces. Do you really need to have that turn of phrase or that sentence or that paragraph? It gets a lot easier to understand what you can let go of, which makes you someone who understands the bigger picture. Clients like working with you, your team likes working with you. You become a real part of the team and a part of the company while still holding on to the core of what you want to accomplish from the writing side. One other piece where I think a lot of folks go the wrong way is it's good to ask for help, and you should ask for help, but you have to be specific about what you're asking for. I tend to see this pop up on a spectrum. You're going to have the one person who thinks if they ask any questions whatsoever, they sound dumb, so they ask nothing and are silent about it. You have the other side of that spectrum, which is someone who needs to ask a question about almost every single sentence. You need something in the middle there, because either ends of those spectrums don't really solve the problem at hand. You either don't know a problem exists, or you don't know what the actual problem is. You have to figure out how to package that ask and make it specific and actionable so that your coworkers or your bosses or your clients, whoever you're asking to, really understand what you want and can help you accomplish that goal. Now, how do we do that? The biggest pieces are going to be identifying that gap in knowledge. So make sure before you ever ask anyone that you're going out and researching for yourself. Are you going online and looking for key pieces of information? Do you have books somewhere? Do you have a coworker or a friend who might be able to help you out? Start with them first and see if you can piece together a solution. If you can't, then go through that bulk of knowledge and figure out where that gap actually lies. You want to present your work toward a solution. So you may not have found an answer, but you've got enough pieces here to start building toward however you actually want to solve this problem. That becomes the core of your ask and leads to the tactics and next steps that you can ask from whomever. So it could be, hey boss, I've looked around to try to find this information. I can't seem to find it anywhere. Would it be possible to talk to the client and maybe have a research session with them to think through this problem at hand? Then you can talk to your boss, negotiate a bit around that, and then have some next steps and tactics to work toward that. It's, okay, great, we'll get that call scheduled for next week, or you can join our next client call on Thursday and we'll sit down and work through this together. But you've thought through the specifics of the problem at hand, presented a piece of a solution, and have help and bring in folks around you to help solve that problem. Altogether, that's going to make you a stronger writer because you're getting the answer you need, but you're also, again, becoming a stronger team player who recognizes you are part of a larger organization and the work you're doing fits within that larger context. Like any part of the writing craft, this is something to practice and work through. And it's not going to come immediately, especially if you're not used to working in a larger team setting. But these are the kinds of pieces that separate writers who are doing it for fun, or writers who really are just trying to piece some stuff together, from the writers who understand the professional obligations they have and the professional work they can do if they work together with a team. As always, thanks for watching, gang. Make sure you like, comment, add in any other ideas that maybe you thought of as well. Was there a piece I missed or something you want to learn more about? Would love to get feedback on that. Thanks for watching, gang, and we'll see you soon for the next Wednesday Word.